Hi, this is Lori, and welcome to my series on adventures in soldering. In this set of episodes, we're going to be doing the Make Your Uno kit that Arduino sells. And the first part, we'll just do a little intro on the kit, and we'll talk about the very first couple of small projects to get you comfortable with soldering. And then we'll do the Uno. You'll make your own Uno, and then we make a synthesizer as a part of this kit as well, which was what attracted me to it. I've always been interested in synthesizers, even though I don't have any musical talent, but I always wanted to kind of create one, and I thought this would be a good way to learn about one before just like trying to randomly make my own or something like that. All right, so let's take a look at this kit. And I've forgotten. I always like to say this this motto I have for this series. I'm a beginner at soldering, and I am sure those of you who are very experienced will probably notice that immediately. And so if I can't be a good example, then I'll just have to be a horrible warning. And here's what you get in the Uno kit. Quite a array of things, and it was a little daunting when I first got it in. I managed to get it on a nice sale. I think it was a Black Friday sale, and I kind of set it aside because when I opened it up, I was a little intimidated by the amount of soldering there was to do, and I was wondering if my skills were really up to it. And the kit was, even though it was on sale, it was still a fair amount of money, and I didn't want to mess it up. So another reason why I started this series, to start to get more comfortable doing soldering before I got to this kit. So yeah, you can see all the pieces that we'll put together. Here's the board for the Uno, and then we have a couple little projects, a keychain and a debugger, and then here's the parts that make up the synthesizer. Yeah, it'll take some time. I think if you just did the whole thing all the way through, you'd probably spend at least 3 hours doing this project. Yeah, a lot to do, but I think it's definitely worth it. As I'm recording this, I've finished some of it already, and I think it's been worth it. And here's what the synthesizer will look like. This is what you get when you order it. And then it makes into this little synthesizer here with the speaker and everything, and it shows that you can color this, or make it your own if you want to. And then you'll do these 4 projects that I talked about before. The first is making this keychain, where you just practice filling up the little holes of the heart here with solder, and practice soldering on some of the components that you'll need to solder for the Arduino. Then you'll make a little debug circuit that you'll use to check to see if your Arduino is working correctly. And then here's the Arduino Uno. So it's an R3 Uno. And then here's the synthesizer shield that we'll build at the end. So, for the money, you do get quite a bit of experience, and you end up with a couple of pretty nice items at the end of it. It has a great tutorial to show you how to do everything, and it is intended for somebody to kind of use as maybe a beginning soldering project for them. I think it's a lot to do as a beginner, but they do really try to build in the 2 little simple projects to get you started, and then you move on to making the Uno and the synthesizer shield, which are much more complicated. It's all through-hole soldering, so in that sense, I think it's pretty doable. I think if I were, I'm glad I didn't start with this. Let me just say that. I'm glad I started doing some of the smaller, cheaper kits to feel a little more confident in my soldering before I started this one. So that's my advice, but I think you could do this as a first soldering project, but I would definitely spend some time doing the 2 smaller projects first, and hopefully you'd feel comfortable at that point. All right, so it has a kit overview that you can go to, and so I'll just click onto that, and just tells you a little bit about the kit, what you're going to do. And if you read all this, I think it does give you all the nice information that you would need to get the kit done. I'll go back here. I will say the one thing I wish it had a little bit more of, especially once you get into the making the Uno, I wish there was more information about each of the components that you're soldering on, and their function and what they do in the Uno circuit. But perhaps that's maybe asking for a little too much. I don't know. There are a few things that I thought, I wish I knew a little bit more about this component. So I probably will spend some time doing my own research and finding that out, but it would have been kind of maybe neat if they could have added a little bit more of that into it. So anyways, so here's part 2. So learn how to solder. So the first thing we're going to do is make that keychain. So I'll just show you a little bit about how it works, and I won't show you this as I move through and do the steps, but I thought it would be nice just to show you how well done this site is. I mean, definitely in terms of learning to solder kits, this one is the best one I've ever seen. So we're going to work on this keychain, and so it talks us through that. And then it has this 3D soldering instructions, and I think they're useful. And you can see it kind of flows around, and it'll tell you, over here on the side what all you need to do the next step, and then you click on next step. And it's talking about your iron, and now it's showing us that we're going to work with this piece here, and you can see over here on the side it also has those pieces. And here it shows the first thing we're going to do is put one of these resistors on here, and so it tells you a little bit about the resistors and the different kinds, and so then you go like that, and it'll show you putting them in. And I'll show you how to do that and to clip it off. And so that's how it is for the whole thing. And even when you get to the Uno part and the synthesizer part, it has this 3D part that shows you the pieces going in. And definitely, I think some of the best instruction I've seen for a kit like this. So really well done. And again, I think that's a little bit of what you're paying for when you buy a kit like this one. Well, we're going to get started doing the keychain and the debug circuit and go from there. I'm making this little short recording that I'm going to insert here into the first episode. I'm finished with the project, as you can see now, and I did do some things that sort of forced my hand in a certain direction for using the Synth Shield. It's designed to all go together, and you can see it clearly in the pictures that, at least in some of the pictures, the synth board here and the Uno, which you'll see I have below here, has been left attached to the two sprues, and you can see they make a little bit of a housing which you could then set in here, or you can just leave out, and of course everything would stay. I took everything off the sprues. Of course, it doesn't matter if you take these two things off, but this does provide a place to mount that speaker, so I wanted that. And then the Synth Shield, if you'd kept it attached, you could have it attached with the speaker mounted to it. Now, I've added something at the bottom just so that the whole pieces that I've already clipped off of the sprue can fit in here, and of course they move around a little bit, but it works, and by adding a piece of cardboard here to the bottom, it doesn't fall through, so I can use it kind of in the way it was intended, but then it still allows me to pick this up, and if I just want the Uno to do something else with, I can set the whole shield aside and I have just the Uno. So I certainly didn't clip those off with this in mind. I just wasn't thinking about it. So that's just something you need to think about as you make it. The other thing I didn't think much about as I was doing it was once you put the Synth Shield on, you have no access to the pins, and there are a lot of pins that are still available, and perhaps you'd want to do some more. You'd want to add in some other additional things like maybe a display, LEDs or something to move with the music, and you don't have access to them. And so I saw on another YouTuber's discussion of this, some using a different set of headers here that would come through, and then you could access the pins. And I'll link to that person's website where they discuss how they set it up, because they kind of noticed that from the start, a little more experienced than me with working with synthesizers and realizing that they would want access to those pins. I wish I had known that before I soldered these headers in, and you could have soldered, let's pull it off here, you could have soldered some headers that would come through to the other side, and then you could connect DuPont type jumper cables to the other side and connect other things in. I'm going to get around that. That same person made a suggestion about putting another shield that will sandwich here in between. And so I have one from Adafruit, which I'll talk about in the last episode where I do some programming of it. And it gives me access to the pins by creating some connection points on the side, kind of like a wing. So again, it's nice that I don't have it connected, because I'll be able to put that wing piece in between and make it work with this, I hope. I haven't gotten that shield in yet, but by the time I get to the last episode, I'm sure I'll have it in. So those are just some things to think about. Think about what you want to do with these headers. I do highly recommend you take a look at that website. I'm going to go through some of the programming that person put together for using the synthesizer, and show you how we can do a little bit more than what we see just on the Arduino instructions. And like I said, I in the end, I'm okay with how I put this together, and I think it allows me some additional flexibility. But you want to keep that in mind. If you're envisioning this kit as just being this solely, then you do want to keep these pieces connected to the sprue. All right, we're going to work on the keychain. So it's just for practicing, which I think is a really great idea. And let's just check out these resistors. I think I have them in the right order here with how they're going to go on the board. But let's just double check them. So this should be the 1 mega ohm. Let's see. I don't think I've ever... Yeah. That's exactly what that one is. I never read one that high before. And this should be the one, or the 10. It should be the 10 kilo ohm. Yep. That's 10. And then this should be the 1 kilo. Gosh, I'm having a hard time opening it. There we go. Yep. All right. So those are in the right order. And we'll slide them over here carefully. And then the first thing they want you to do is just to practice filling up the holes here with solder. And they give you quite a few to practice with. I think I'll just fill in the heart. I feel like I'll probably know how to do that, but you got plenty to choose from there. So we'll turn on our absorber. We'll tin up our tip just a little bit. Make sure we get it good and tinned up. And we'll just try to flow some solder in some of these holes here. Yep, that worked. All right. Well, I'll finish up the heart and come on back. Okay, I finished filling it up. Feel pretty easy. I do have a little bit of a bump on the backside too, at least for a few of them. I think it looks kind of fun, but yeah, probably plenty put into the holes. So that was a good practice, and now I'm going to put the resistors on. So there wasn't any reason to have to check the resistance, because this keychain isn't going to do anything electrically. It's not, but I want to put them in the right place. So I'll just pop that in there, get it nice and flush, and bend it back like that. And then we'll do the next one. Get that one in there. And that way. Okay. Bend that one back. And the last one. Yeah. There we go. Now bend it back here. Alright, we'll slide it in this way. Kind of wedge it on. Alright. Okay. Let's take a quick look at that and see how they came out. Looks pretty good. And then I'll clip them off. All right. And that looks great, I guess. All right, next up is to get these the capacitors on here. So the 22 picofarad goes in this slot here. I'll pop that in, and this one doesn't matter what direction you put it in, so put it like that. Oh, it's kind of nice. It's got a bend in there to kind of keep it at the height that they want. I've never noticed that before. All right, this is the one with the polarity to it, and the long leg is the positive, the short leg is the negative, so we'll put it in like that, and put that in and spread that one. And then the last one is the 100 nanofarad. I've never soldered one of these before, and just goes in, no particular order. It's not a polarity to it, so I think those are all pretty good. I'm gonna bend this one just a little bit more. Can I get it to go? Can't seem to get it to go as straight as I want. There we go. I think so. Yeah, that's good enough. Yeah. All right, let's get that done. And just gonna probably tuck that one right there. I don't think it's gonna move. All right. Alright, I think that's pretty good. And we'll go ahead and trim these up a little bit, get them flush. Well, there we go. Guess I could have gotten that one a little more square. But I didn't do my reflow trick. I figured it'd be good enough. Okay, I think that finishes our keychain. Might clean this up with a little isopropyl alcohol. Get some of the flux off of it. But it looks nice. I love the little back. It's so cute. Terrific. Well, now we'll make the little debugger, the other practice piece, and that'll finish the practice part of this kit. Okay, have everything out here for the little debugger. I'll just show what that looks like, and it's also got a cute, cute PCB. So we got a 1 kilo ohm resistor and a little LED, which I have down here. And this resistor, well, this one's actually going to function, but I can compare it to the one that we have here on our keychain. So I know this is the 1 kilo ohm. So I'm going to put that in, and I think I'll put the LED in as well. And then we'll come back and solder the leads, the red and black leads there in a separate step. There we go. So we got that on. Pin that back. So that looks good. And it's a little LED. So this has got a polarity, so the long leg is the positive. So we'll slide that in like that, and we'll bend it back as well. And I brought out these because I'm going to try to make sure I get this, you know, straight up and down. Although it's kind of, it's really small, so it's going to be hard to reflow and make it work. But anyways, well, I may only need one of these. This is really not a big board. A little bit of movement, but I'll be gentle. See how it goes. Alright, so we'll get the one lead here. And put a little solder on. Like that. And then I'm gonna come underneath. And I put only a little, just so I can get it nice and straight. Alright, so let's take a look and see. It's a little cockeyed. Maybe I'll try it again. It's cockeyed. Maybe I'll try to do it this way. Now, a little bit of fumbling here. Probably not going to be able to see it too well, but I'm going to try holding it here and try to reflow it and straighten it. Get it nice and straight, and then let it go. Let's see, how did I do? Yeah, I think that looks okay. And we'll go ahead and do the rest of the soldering. Alright. I think that's good. Let's take a look. Alright. And we'll go ahead and kind of clip these off with our nippers. There we go. I guess we have some more holes. If you felt like you needed to practice some more, you could. So that's kind of nice. And next up, we want to get these on in the correct spot here. So black and red. Okay. Pull those out of the way for a minute while we work on this. So we're going to insert the red into the red one. And I kind of cocked it sideways there just to put it in. And I'm going to do the same thing with the black one. Like that. And then I'm going to put a little bit of my high temperature tape. I have a thin piece of it here. I'm going to put it on there just to hold on to those so they don't come out while we're trying to solder it. So you can see them, you can see the little tips peeking through there. And I'll just bring this back and hold on to it for us. Like that. There we go. And turn on our... And we'll just work this one. I'll put a good amount on this because these wires are going to bend a lot. And I want to make sure that they are really well soldered. So I'm even making sure hopefully some of it's going through to the other side and linking it up pretty good. Alright. Let's take a look at that. I think we got it. And we'll pull that off. And yeah, some of the solder came through on this side too. So hopefully that'll be good. It might make sense to permanently tape this down just because it would give us some strain relief on that spot. But I don't think I'll be using it too much. Okay, we got to give it a test with the battery, right? See if our little light comes on. Okay, I got a 9-volt battery here. And we'll touch the leads to the battery and hopefully you see the light coming on and off. Yep, it works. All right, well now we're ready to do our next big soldering, which is making the Uno. I'm really looking forward to that. Well, thanks for joining me on this journey with the Make Your Own Uno kit. And as always, thank you for watching.